Hi, everyone. I'm Shelly Dressel. I channel the universal light beings and many other energies. And I have been feeling a lot of information coming through that I wanted to share with all of you. We're here. This is what we've been waiting for. And now that it's here, it's very disruptive to people. I hear from a lot of people that they just feel anxious. I hear from a lot of people that have you seen this and seen that and seen this stuff on social media, stuff that's happening around the world. So I was starting to feel it last night and then this morning that I wanted to do a universal light being little mini recording. And at first I thought, okay, Brasentia can talk about that. Then I thought Albayon will talk about things. So I kind of sort of feel like their energy is just going to all be kind of mixed together. So they won't necessarily say, this is so and so, this is so and so. But I feel the presence of all three of them around me because where we are is something that's going to affect many, many, many. There is, I understand there's a longshoreman strike that's going on. I understand that Israel was just bombed last night. I understand that there is a lot of information about the little ones that are coming out that is just being posted. So it just feels like this is a time, and of course we have the eclipse again tonight. So I just felt like this is a time that, let's just take some information and then, of course, the loving and nurturing. Greetings. It is I, Albayon, but I have with me Brasentia and Crystalia. We will probably, all three of us, flow through in this conversation today, or it may be that I just am speaking for all of us. We started talking, I believe it was in June or July, no, July, maybe August, that you're here at the end game. And what that meant is that it's the end of everything that you've been working towards. It's the end of all of the transitions that are taking place. And yet, in certain regards, it's the very beginning because it is going to be the beginning where you begin to hear more and more and more about beings that are out in the universe that are interacting with the earth plane. You're going to hear more about a lot of the nasty, nasty things that have gone on in the past because that does have to be brought up. And so for so many people, it can be a very traumatic time. And what I wanted to share with each of you today is just a couple of tidbits of information. So you will recall that I believe it was in the last mini. I don't honestly remember. We talked so many different times. But in the last mini, I talked about that time when everyone just felt a glunk in the energy, like this real heaviness that was suddenly there, and something that was like a purging, and they didn't really understand. So very interestingly, after the last universal light being, Shelly had a private session with someone where almost the same thing came up, where the individual said, gee, I've been feeling suddenly a lack, and I've been feeling very anxious, and I've been feeling as if I'm just worried about so many things. And the her group says, so when did this all start? And it all coincided with that time. So if this has happened to Shelly, if we talked about it there, if it's still being talked about by people, I wanted to address that. And just to give you another idea of what was going on. Throughout time, people have experiences, and in those experiences, it creates an energy, and that energy may be contained within. Sometimes it can be contained within a crystal. Sometimes it can be contained within a block that's just kind of sealed off. And sometimes it's purposely done that way. Other times it's just what happens. So the nefarious ones throughout time, and especially coming up to this end of their experience, they made what you would call bubbles of energy that they, to lack of a better word of calling it, you know how you've heard about how witches will put a spell on something? They bespelled it with a micro, with a programming that would allow it to be automatically released if certain things were happening in the world. Now, they have been strategically removed over the last probably most especially the last about 8 to 10 years. However, they still had these stores of energy that were in various parts of the world that they could then put out, that would go into the collective consciousness and go down into people. So what happened was, with this last one in particular, is that there was a solar flare that came in, and it came in, and of course this was not planned. This was not something that we knew for sure was going to happen. But with this solar flare, with this energy that was coming in, the intention was that it would break up anything that was of a lower vibration, so that vibration radiating out through the planet connected with that, and it burst open and it released it into the consciousness. Now, here's the thing. It did way less, it had way less of an impact than it would have if they had done it themselves, because they would have put all sorts of stuff in it. They would have amplified it with different things. And so it was as if it was this ball of energy that was just sitting in stasis, you could say. And then it got knocked out by the solar flare, so it was released. And because there are so many people that are aware of what's going on, you guys were able to say, oh, I don't feel good, I'm anxious, I'm all those different symptoms that you may have had. This was in the early part of September. So you're like, okay, here I am again, here this is happening again. I'm just going to clear that out and go on about my business. When we had the last universal beings, the last long channel, I looked and I said, are there any others of these things? And now sometimes they can be hidden, and sometimes because I'm of a different vibration. So I just kind of, since that time, I've been looking and working, and I wanted to share with you that I do not see anything at all like that on the earth plane. I don't see it in your collective consciousness. I don't see it tucked away in different places. And I believe that that was probably their last one that they could manipulate with. Now, that's not saying that as they get to the very end of this existence, that they won't come up with other things. I believe they probably have a laundry list of, if this happens, we'll do this. If this happens, we'll do this. The good news is those that are working and that are in this vibration and that are aware of what are going on, they have an even longer list that says, if that happens, we'll do this. So it's as if when they talk about a chess game, that's exactly what they're talking about. And what I wanted to share with you, here we are, October 2nd, and there is an eclipse tonight that is going to bring in a lot more energy of this kind of this breaking down of the old paradigm and this breaking down of the old frequencies. So be aware that you may feel that same feeling of, oh, I feel kind of strange again. However, coming on the heels of that, you should feel very, very, very good, because there is this just wide open stream of consciousness that is filled with light, that is filled with love, that is filled with just something that's going to raise the vibration of everybody on the planet. Okay, so what's coming up to this last breakdown? There has been I wanted to look at the Israeli strikes. Is this bringing down Israel? Is this bringing down now? I know many of you live there, and I'm not talking about you, the average person. Is this bringing down the nefarious ones in Israel? And is this leading to other nefarious ones coming down? There has also been the big hurricane that they just took place just north of Shelly, and she's tapped into that, and she's worked with those energies. There is the longshoreman strike that is about shipping and stuff like that. And this is just the few things that are coming into Shelly's consciousness. If you go to different parts of the world, you will see that there are certain things that are coming up that give people the perception that, oh no, we're still stuck. And I want to share with you that things will be coming up to you that you'll see on social media or that you'll hear people talking about. And it may cause you to think, oh my gosh, we're going backwards. You are not going backwards. This is the end. And so these things have to be exposed. All of these various things that Shelly was talking about has been about the exposure. It's the exposure of the nefarious ones. It's the exposure and the breaking down of their last strongholds. And that's what this stuff is in Israel. They have taken great strides, or great pains, you could say, howsoever that phrase is, to be able to enforce or encourage that where these bombs are landing, and while it may look very random and it may look very like it's all encompassing, the intention is that it's taking out the strategic buildings, the strategic dumbs, the strategic things that have been in and around Israel, that were there and were created specifically for this what the nefarious ones have been doing over the last 100 to, well, they were not a part of it back 100 years ago. It was being planned 100 years ago, but it went into effect less than that. Doesn't matter. Timing is, as you know, doesn't matter. The point here is that I invite all of you to really focus on your awareness as we talk about each and every time. There is going to be a great deal more that's going to come across in the streams, talking about the littles, talking about what's been done, talking about human trafficking, talking about the billions and billions of dollars that they have spent in things. And that's going to be coming across, and people are going to be hearing about it. It is already showing up on people's feeds. And even though many of the people that are not yet open are not necessarily opening it and looking into it, it's going into their subconscious, and it's putting that idea there so that when they begin to hear more and more from other sources, it won't be as if it's something totally new and different. There is Shelly saw this video recently, and I know there are many. This is but one of many where it showed HC. You know who that is, married to another individual. But anyway, one of the worst, where she's literally trying to put out their information that, well, they even came in and they even bombed a pizza place. And it's like, and what were they doing? You know, those poor innocent people eating pizza. So in other words, she's trying to do damage control, or the person that is playing her, because she's gone. So they're trying to do damage control before this information comes out, but it's not going to do any good. And the other singer that you are very well aware of, there is just going to be this lava flow of nastiness and horror that is going to come out of that individual and the many, many people that are involved. I say this not to depress any of you, but to prepare you, because much of it is already happening, and to prepare you and remind you that this is only happening so that you can lance that wound, get all of this crap out there in one form or another, so that the entire population can move on. There will be many, many, many people that will be distraught over all of this. And so the most important thing that you can do is to hold that vibration of love, hold that vibration of compassion, and be sure to repeatedly just send that out into the consciousness, send it out into the individuals that you are aware of. Another thing to consider as we are moving forward. So Shelly spoke of the flooding that came with that late recent hurricane, and it has been very devastating to a lot of people. There were entire strips of homes and things that were walkways where, with, you know, a tiny little stream beside it is suddenly a rushing river. So there were people that were asking, was this done by the nefarious ones? Was it done by the white hats? Was it natural? You know, what's going on with that? So let me take a minute and just tap into it and see what I can find out. I'm not getting that it was the nefarious ones. I'm not getting that it was the white hats, as you call them. I think it was something that just came, and there has been quite a while of, there has been some drought in some of these places. So that influx of water so quickly, you know, that's what caused a lot of the flooding. I'm just looking again when it was out in the Gulf. How did it work then, and how was it started then? It feels like it was something that was put forth at one time, like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, a long time ago. It feels as if it was programmed into those computers that do work with the energy, that do work with your weather patterns. And so it does feel like it was programmed. It does feel like it was something that was planned at one point. However, now and where you are now, as I look at it, it just feels as if it was not, I'm not, I just said it was not as bad as they had wanted it to be. And I know that for those of you that are living up there, that you're saying, hello, yes, it was. So if you will recall, there was a lot of flooding in Australia last year. If you will recall, there have been people that have talked about various parts of the world in which there have been earthquakes and flooding and volcanoes and a lot of these things that are the earth kind of purging itself. So when we're looking, it feels as if in that area of North Carolina, there were dams. There were other things that were in that area that were used by the nefarious ones. And a lot of that has been cleared out. Again, nothing, we feel nothing but compassion and love and light for all of those that have been injured and that have had this experience. But we do feel like that is out. We also want to point out to you that you do not see FEMA, because FEMA's been taken down. And what is happening in place of that? You have other people that are stepping up. People with private helicopters are flying in goods and helping people and getting people out of places. There have been various organizations, because you don't see the Red Cross there either. There have been various organizations that have bound together, and they're putting out, come join us, and they're going in there and helping to get people out and bringing water to those that need it. You see, what was another thing that we saw? That, like, businesses saying, come get our water. We've got clean water. Bring your jugs. And so this is the community. Oh, there's a lot of emotion coming up in Shelly around this. This is the community coming together in support of its own. And there are many, many ways in which you can contribute if you so choose. There are many ways that you can go there and help out. So this is showing you what is going to happen when there are things like this that happen in the future. This is how communities come together. Humanity has such a generosity of spirit. You have such a generosity and of support for one another. So it is not that it would not have happened. It's that this is giving the opportunity for these new humanitarian features or projects to come forward. You've been hearing about that, have you not? That there will be new funding, etc., for humanitarian projects. Okay. Whew. So I feel as if I've just really jumped all over the place here, but that is because of this, that this is what is happening. There is so much that is happening, and much of it is right here on your earth plane, as humanity is moving from a place of being kind of not catatonic, but enclosed in minimal response and minimal influence, into the place where you're recognizing just how big and powerful you are. Something just slid in, and someone's asking, but tell us again about the new moon, the two moons. You haven't talked about that. It's a little bit way off subject from what I'm doing, but for some reason it came in and I heard it, so I feel as if I need to address it. The way in which your planet is centered within the universe, there have always been certain times of the year and certain cycles when planets and the moon, the star, the sun, the ships that are around here, there are various different factors that come into play that cause these different alignments to show up. And it is through those alignments showing up that the perception of a second moon there being side by side is what is going on. There are multiple moons that move throughout the universe, and my perception is that this one has been there off and on throughout your history. It is not there all the time. And it is now a time for the cycles as they change, for this moon to be shown to you again. And it is also just coming through as part of this transformation that is taking place. So that's so there were some people that said, is the new moon actually one of the motherships? And no, it is not. It is something separate than the motherships. Okay, so my many random questions and ideas here. I hope this just helps you out. Keep firm in your faith that you are the sovereign individual, that you are just this amazing person that is doing their part by being present within yourself, by allowing your divinity to be present within you, and then letting that shine forth to all. This is a time of great turmoil. Do not tap into that turmoil as much as you can help it, and instead be present in your space, shine forth that energy and love so that all can see you for who you are, and that you can be present and helpful in this ascension process. Beloved, we are all three with you on Saluia.